Well, once upon a time, there was a Lucasfilm production called Willow. Yeah, it's a medieval fantasy tale, similar to Lord of the Rings and that sort of thing, And it was interesting in the aspect that, of course, Star Wars owes more to medieval fantasy tales than it does to actual science fiction. Star Trek is the more science fiction of the two. So Willow was basically George Lucas stripping all the science fiction away. No spaceships or robots or anything. And what are you left with? Well, you get Willow. That was kind of the take on it, more or less. Some of the elements, especially with Willow being a dwarf, was something that was considered in Star Wars, that Luke Skywalker would actually be a dwarf or something like that. And just dusted some of that off and used the templates for Willow. The Mad Mardigan is kind of the Han Solo of it, and so on and so forth. But it was a fun movie. A lot of it I thought was cool at the time. I wasn't blown away by it. The one thing I was blown away by was the James Horner's soundtrack. It was just absolutely beautiful. I loved that stuff. And but I had fun with it. It had good, funny moments in it. Val Kilmer was really good. And, wouldn't have minded if there had been another, but it just wasn't that successful. But it had its cult following and stuff, and a lot of people have fond memories of it. And especially, probably the younger you were, the more you really got into it and everything. And it's a rollicking adventure, and there was potential there to expand on the story. Maybe one day, we would revisit Willow. Well, that day has finally come. Be careful what you wish for, So Lucasfilm, what properties do they have? Well, of course, Star Wars, the foundation upon which all other things are built, is their big franchise. After that, you have Indiana Jones. So what else did they got? Well, they had Willow. So maybe there was something else, but I don't remember. I don't think there'll be any. What you think they'll do a D+ series of American Graffiti? Destroy that. I mean, Andor already did THX 11838. So, but maybe, I don't know. So it's Willow, and Willow. It's terrible. The movie is now looking like a goddamn masterpiece compared to this thing. And it's another one of those examples of these shows and series that tend to be based on some sort of source material, either a previous show or movie, or novels and comic books or what have you. And they refuse to have any respect whatsoever for the original product, the source of it all, or what have you. But it's also, stunningly enough, this keeps happening, it has no respect for itself either. So they don't even try. I mean, and it's like, so they had this younger cast, so it's years later, so you have the children of Mad Mardigan and Sorsha. And Sorsha's now the queen because she was the daughter of the evil queen, And so now she has a daughter and a son. But in this enlightened new age, the princess doesn't get kidnapped. The prince does. So the princess has to go save her brother with her knight that she's in love with. Yeah, her knight by the name of Jade, who is a woman. Yes, of course. Which, just the idea of there being a lesbian romance in it would not have been a problem. But it's only there to say, look, lesbians. That's it. I will say this is for the actress playing Jade. I have not liked. I really couldn't stand her in Falcon and Winter Soldier, but that's because of the character she played, and that I still stand by that is the absolute worst of the DC. I'm sorry, I'm still thinking about DCU of the D+ Marvel shows. because of the ethic it provided, where you had your superhero sympathetic with a mass murderer, which is the character that this woman, I'm forgetting her name, played. But she was empty nest. I keep saying that in Solo. Just another arrogant little snot. And but here, she's actually more responsible. She's more disciplined. She cares. I mean, she doesn't. It's not believable at all that she's a knight, but they're gonna make her a knight because girls kick ass and all that. And she, of course, once again gets in serious fights with men twice her size. And swords were heavy, very, very heavy, so it's not an easy thing to do. But she does it like it's almost like it's some kind of prop that's light. Oh. Now, if they had written it in that maybe she had supernatural abilities or something like that, okay, but no. And in fact, she gets in fights with supernatural creatures, and it's so stupid. Don't even try. So they don't even respect this character that they're propping up and promoting as representation and stuff. They don't. But the interesting thing about it, of the two of this couple, she's the better of the two. And in fact, the princess is quite the arrogant bitch. She's just awful. And Jade could do a lot better. She has a mentor who is more of this father figure towards her, Ballantine, but he gets infected and becomes demonic throughout these episodes. And spoiler, by the third episode, she has to kill him, and it's all very sad. It's probably the only moment there that she gets, but it's just done, and Willow himself, there's a lot of similarities between this and Last Jedi, and a lot of people would have expected that. But it's actually better than Last Jedi. Because he's not a complete failure. He's not a child killer or a would-be child killer. There's something, he had a fight with Sorsha, and she disrespected him and that sort of thing. They deal with that. There's actually some pretty good CGI of him in there, but for flashbacks and stuff, but so what? And but it's years later, and he had to protect Elora Danan by hiding her identity even from herself. So the prince's girlfriend, who's just one of these commoner serving maids and whatnot, surprise, she's Elora, and so that's but she's interested in learning magic and stuff from him, so it's a better relationship there. That's what you should have got between Luke and Rey, so they give that to Willow. So okay, you did do that, but it's just so surrounded in so much stupidity. The photography for the most part is pretty good. There's actual location shots. Sometimes they're in the, what do they call it, the volume room or the green screen room. It's pretty obvious when they are. But they do utilize it better than Obi-Wan did. The third episode, there's supposed to be a battle with were-rats, but it's just awful. They went on the cheap in that one, and they quickly end it, and it's taken care of off camera. That stupid crap like that. They have I guess he's Arabic, I don't know, but he's like the Arabic version of Mad Mardigan for this crew, and he's all right. He's probably the only one that's believable that he could win in the sword fights and everything. There's a scene where Willow just doesn't do anything in this battle, and they're on the verge of losing it because these guys are all demonically possessed and stuff. And then finally he decides to use some magic only when one of his little buddies gets stabbed. And so he does, and in one stroke he wipes out the demonic army. It's like, you could have stopped it. Now, granted, they do mention that with each time he uses the magic, he gets weaker. He's losing it. He can't keep doing it forever, that kind of thing. And, of course, Elora is supposed to be the next great sorceress that's supposed to set her up, but she doesn't know magic and all that, so he's got to teach her. All right. So, it's almost kind of there, but it's dragged down by idiocy because the dialogue is so bad. Now, the older characters and they keep informed. They're supposed to be in this medieval fantasy world, and there's the proper way of speaking and all that. Whereas the younger people just talk about modern teenagers, seriously, and you're not the boss of me, and all that kind of stuff. So you can't stay in the show because they just keep kicking you out with that stupidity. There's other aspects. I mean, apparently there was a big drop off after the first episode, which pretty much told you everything you needed to know. So it's like, oh, well, check out on this one. And they've been burned by so much Disney product that's so bad these days. So that was probably enough. But there's just this obvious thing that's so bad. So the prince gets captured. They get attacked by these demons there's this force field around the whole realm. And somehow they got through it. They don't really explain that. Well, they're magic, well, yeah, but okay. So they have all this, and so they decide, oh no, the prince, he has to be rescued. So instead of sending the army and trained knights and all that, she sends her daughter, her lesbian lover, and an old man, and the heir of Mad Mardigan, Borman is his name, who's in prison. They decide to let him go because, hey, he knows his way past the great barrier, the force field, And take care of my daughter, will you? And they literally ride out through the army, and the army's sitting there. Okay, well, have fun, kids, and try to save the prince. It's so stupid. So, yeah, I could perfectly understand why you would check out at that point if you're going to do something that stupid and blatant. And to add insult to injury, each episode ends with a rock song. The third one ends with Enter Sandman. Not by Metallica. They got a cover band to do it. All the songs have to be sung by women, so I guess there's something to that too. I don't know. And so there you go. It's just really stupid and sad, because occasionally I can see the templates here and there where they could have done something in better hands, but that wasn't the primary goal there. So they had to have their main thing is the lesbian couple, I guess, but so you're not, and this is how you treat that, huh? You don't give them anything. Speaking of the lesbians, Elora escapes from the demon knight and runs into another lesbian couple living in the woods. But despite being this medieval fantasy world, they're cowgirls. They're wearing cowboy hats. Looks like blue jeans. So why did you do that? That's stupid. Oh, and then they show off how badass they are. One of them takes an axe to the demon knight, but he's a demon knight, so it doesn't do any good. So he guts her. And it's one of the rare occasions in a Disney show or film these days where someone takes it to the gut and dies. Because apparently Black Panther survived it. The new Black Panther did. And, of course, Reva and Obi-Wan, she took a lightsaber to the gut. And she survived. At least in her case, the lightsaber could cauterize the wound. But then again, poor Qui-Gon must feel like a real idiot. He probably could have gotten Obi-Wan, quick, get some first aid, and he would have been fine, a Band-Aid at least. But no, not so much for the poor lesbian lady. And then her girlfriend or wife or whatever, she gets killed too. Just there to be seen in cowboy hats for some reason. I don't know. So yeah, that's about it. I'm not going to go into point by point plot because do you need that? So that's 3 episodes in. I guess because I'm a part of Doomcock's pop culture breakdown that we're going to watch the entire series. But I was the only one who watched the 3rd one this week. But anyway. Yeah, I guess I'll see where it goes, but it's not going to go anywhere. It's very poorly done, and it's a show that, again, doesn't respect where it came from and doesn't respect itself. So, why should I?